The Social Security Administration confirmed a cost of living adjustment for the coming year after a period of uncertainty caused by a federal government shutdown. The announcement revealed a 2.8% increase for payments beginning in the new year. Under normal circumstances, this adjustment is announced in mid-October, but this time the process was slowed as many federal offices were closed and employees were furloughed. The delay created anxiety among beneficiaries who depend on these payments, but the final announcement still arrived before the legal deadline. During a government shutdown, most federal workers are sent home without pay, and only essential staff remain on duty. The calculation of the cost of living adjustment depends on cooperation between multiple agencies. Inflation data must first be compiled, then reviewed, and finally applied to Social Security formulas. Because payments are legally required to be adjusted and announced by the first day of November, a limited number of staff were recalled to ensure the work was completed on time. That effort explains why the announcement came later than usual but still met statutory requirements. The cost of living adjustment has been part of the Social Security system since the mid-1970s. Its purpose is to help benefits keep pace with rising prices so that recipients do not lose purchasing power over time. For millions of Americans, especially retirees, these payments are not a bonus or a supplement. They are the foundation of monthly income. Surveys consistently show that nearly 6 out of 10 retirees rely on Social Security as a major source of their income. For many households, it is the difference between stability and hardship. Because of this dependence, even a modest adjustment carries real weight. A 2.8% increase may sound small when compared to wages or investment returns, but for someone living on a fixed income, it can mean the ability to cover higher grocery bills, manage utility costs, or pay for prescriptions. For retirees watching every dollar, the announcement is not abstract economic news. It directly affects daily life, personal dignity, and financial security. Concerns about inflation remain front and center. Many retirees have expressed fear that trade policies, including tariffs on imported goods, could drive prices higher, faster than benefits can adjust. Tariffs typically raise the cost of imported products, and those higher costs often flow through to consumers. When prices rise and income remains fixed, purchasing power erodes. Retirees worry that even with an annual adjustment, they may fall behind if inflation accelerates unexpectedly. One challenge with the cost of living adjustment is that it is based on past data rather than future conditions. The calculation uses inflation figures from the previous year, meaning benefits always respond after prices have already risen. If inflation were to spike suddenly, beneficiaries would feel the impact immediately, while their payments would not catch up until the following year. Advocacy groups have long argued that this lag leaves retirees vulnerable, especially during periods of rapid economic change. In practical terms, the new adjustment means the average retired worker will see a noticeable but limited increase. Monthly benefits that are just over $2,000 will rise by roughly $56 per month, adding up to several $100s over the course of a year. For someone still earning wages, that amount might seem insignificant. For a retiree managing rent, food, and medical expenses, it can be meaningful. It might cover prescription co-payments, help with heating costs, or allow for healthier food choices. The fact that the adjustment came in slightly higher than some projections suggests inflation remained steady through late summer. Analysts noted that a smaller adjustment would have required virtually no price growth during that period. Instead, prices continued to rise, though at a slower pace than in recent years. This signals that inflation has cooled from its peak, but has not disappeared. For retirees, that means costs are still climbing, even if not as sharply as before. The reach of this adjustment extends far beyond retired workers alone. Social Security disability benefits, supplemental security income, and related assistance programs are all tied to the same calculation. Tens of millions of Americans receive some form of benefit affected by this adjustment. These include individuals with disabilities, low-income seniors, and others who rely on the social safety net to meet basic needs. When benefits increase, the effects ripple across households and communities nationwide. One issue that often complicates the picture is healthcare costs, particularly Medicare premiums. Many beneficiaries have their premiums automatically deducted from their monthly payments. When premiums rise, they can consume much or all of the cost of living adjustment. Federal law includes a protection designed to prevent premiums from increasing more than benefits for most recipients, ensuring that net payments do not decrease. However, this protection does not apply to everyone. New Medicare enrollees, higher income beneficiaries, and individuals not yet receiving Social Security can see premium increases that exceed their benefit adjustments. For them, a cost of living increase may not translate into more money in their pocket. In some cases, it can feel as though the increase vanished before it arrived. This reality fuels frustration and reinforces concerns about long-term affordability. The timing of the adjustment also matters. Although the announcement comes in the fall, the higher payments do not begin until January. That gap can create planning challenges. Beneficiaries may delay purchases, stretch budgets through the holiday season, or rely on credit with the expectation that higher payments will soon arrive. For those living month to month, even a short delay can be stressful. When January arrives, the new payment amounts will be deposited according to the usual schedule, based on birth dates. Beneficiaries will receive notices explaining their updated benefits and any changes to deductions. For many, seeing the new amount for the first time provides a sense of relief, even if it does not fully solve financial pressures. Looking at recent history helps put the current adjustment in context. A few years ago, benefits saw one of the largest increases in decades as inflation surged across the economy. As price growth slowed, subsequent adjustments became smaller. The current increase reflects a middle ground, higher than last year but far below the peak seen earlier in the decade. This pattern shows that inflation has moderated, though prices remain elevated compared to earlier years. While lower inflation reduces the risk of sudden cost spikes, it does not reverse previous increases. Prices that rose sharply in the past have not returned to earlier levels. Instead, they have stabilized at higher points. For retirees, this means expenses remain elevated even as adjustments slow. The cumulative effect can strain budgets over time, especially for those with limited savings. Advocacy organizations argue that the current formula does not fully capture the realities retirees face. The inflation index used reflects spending patterns of the general population, not older adults. Retirees typically spend a larger share of their income on healthcare, housing, and prescription drugs, categories that often rise faster than average inflation. Because these costs are underrepresented, adjustments may underestimate the true increase in living expenses for seniors. Proposals to change the formula have circulated for years, including the idea of using an index tailored to older Americans. Such a change would likely result in higher adjustments, but it would also increase program costs significantly. Implementing it would require legislative action and political consensus, both of which have proven difficult. As a result, the system remains unchanged, and retirees continue to feel the gap between benefits and expenses. Many older Americans respond to this gap by seeking additional income or support. Some take part-time jobs well into later life. Others rely on family assistance or make difficult choices about spending. These decisions highlight the limits of the current system and the challenges of maintaining financial security in retirement. The 2.8% adjustment for the coming year offers some relief, but it is not a complete solution. For some beneficiaries, it will adequately cover rising costs. For others, it will fall short. The impact will vary widely depending on individual circumstances, health needs, and local cost of living. As the new year approaches, much depends on how inflation evolves. If prices remain stable, the adjustment may feel sufficient. If costs rise unexpectedly, beneficiaries may once again find themselves struggling to keep up. The uncertainty underscores the importance of both personal planning and thoughtful policy decisions. In the end, the announcement reflects the current economic environment and the ongoing effort to balance stability with affordability. For tens of millions of Americans, the increase will provide a measure of support and reassurance. It also serves as a reminder that retirement security remains a complex challenge, shaped by inflation, healthcare costs, and policy choices. Whether this adjustment will be enough is a question each beneficiary will answer in their own household as they navigate the realities of the year ahead.